Don't you see this guy everywhere during Halloween? He's all over the place. Posters and mugs. I've never seen anyone dress up like him for Halloween, though. That's pretty crazy. I always thought his name was Hellraiser. I was so naive. His name is not Hellraiser. His name is Pinhead, which makes perfect sense. It's a better name. It's a great name. The movie is called Hellraiser because it's about a guy who escapes basically from hell, and that's it. No, that's not it. Before we get into this, I do feel obligated to give a content warning. There are some oogie gross things. There's bugs and blood, you know, just gross stuff.
Oh, no tears, please.
But you're strong. You can handle it. I believe in you.
No time for argument.
This movie was written and directed by Clive Barker, who, until October 5th, is going to be 69.
Nice.
He wanted to make this movie because earlier in the 80s, they made a movie called Underworld. Not the Underworld we know and love, but a different Underworld. And he hated it. He hated how the studio made it, and he hated the production, and he hated everything. So he wrote a book called The Hellbound Heart that he later turned into a movie called Hellraiser. He'd never directed a movie before. He wanted to learn about it, and he went to the library to get books, because that's what you used to do before you had the all-knowing, all-seeing eye of Google. But the library didn't have the books he wanted, so I guess he was winging it the whole time. And I think he did an okay job. He did a better job than I could have. The movie starts off in the desert, where we see a character purchasing the puzzle box that's central to the main plot of the movie.
What's your pleasure, Mr. Cotton?
The box.
It's really funny because right before I started watching the movie, I saw this TikTok. And the puzzle box seems bad for two reasons. Number one, it makes this happen to you. And number two, it seems really easy to solve. If the devil's making puzzle boxes, he needs to up his game. No one ever has any trouble opening this one. And if the consequences of solving it are this dire, I mean, depends on how you look at it. If you're the devil, I guess it's a good thing. My first watch through of this movie, I was horribly sleep deprived and very confused. I did not understand what was going on most of the time. So we have Larry, who is brothers with Frank, and Larry is married to Julia. But Julia and Frank are in love behind Larry's back. And Larry has a daughter named Kirsty. When you put it that simply, it seems super obvious, but 2 days of sleep deprivation made it very confusing. It's also fun because Larry looks like knockoff Michael Keaton, and Kirsty looks like knockoff Winona Ryder. So Larry and Julia are moving into this spooky old house. I think it's his mom's house, but they never really make it super clear. We immediately meet Frank in a flashback, but they don't cut the flashback very well. I had no idea it was a flashback at first.
Come in. Can I come in?
So, this guy's a vampire, right? It's gotta be a vampire. I could peg a vampire right off the bat. Vampires love getting pegged by bats. See what I did there? That was also a flashback. As soon as Larry and Julia meet in the flashback, he sucks on her chin and pulls out a knife and cuts her bra off. Knife play seems kind of a heavy thing to just jump right into. It's all consensual, so get at it. Love each other and however you want to. During the flashback, Larry is moving this mattress up the stairs with two other dudes. And it's the heaviest mattress in the world, apparently, and they're struggling so much. Why the fuck is this mattress so heavy? But they cut the moans together from moving the mattress and the flashback moans. And as soon as it's up the stairs, Larry gouges his hand real bad. They don't try at all to stop the bleeding, and it just bleeds everywhere. Oh. The house is the vampire. Well, thirsty house. Which, it's not actually the house. It's this creepy fucking guy. I thought these practical effects were so cool. For a movie made in the late 80s, this is out of this world cool. This looks so good. I figured it was a wax model, and then they melted it and played it in reverse. And I researched it, and it is. That's exactly how they made this. Imagine making this wax model. It would take so long. Just to melt it, just to destroy it for a cool shot. It's legitimately unsettling, for sure. And right after, it cuts to a housewarming party, so we get this cool screenshot. Ha! Hilarious monster skeleton, man. Kirsty's here. She really likes how this guy can flip a cigarette in and out of his mouth. I'm gonna try it. Okay, I think this is gonna suck. Oh no. I did it though. She likes it so much, she walks home with him. And so this movie was originally set in London. The producers said they would get more of an audience if it was based in America. So they overdubbed all the dialogue by British actors and changed some of the editing to make it in America, which is really apparent once you know that and they say things that don't quite make sense.
I beg your pardon.
Ah, see, there you go. I beg your pardon.
Hey, we're not all frigid.
Like, what does he mean we're not all like that? Is this her step bro?
What up, step bro? I'm stuck.
And there's this creepy dude, creepy homeless guy, watching him walk home. He becomes important later. So Julia finds the zombie man, the skeleton we saw get made earlier, and it's Frank. So he's dead now. He was the guy from the beginning with the puzzle box.
Julia?
The zombie guy seems chill as heck. And then he tells Julia she has to go out and bring him murder victims so he can suck out their life force and get stronger.
Just help me, will you?
Oh, he is not chill. He's not chill at all. So Julia's going out and getting him victims. She goes to a hotel bar and she meets this guy who you might feel bad for and be like, oh, this guy has no idea. But then he does this.
You're not gonna change your fucking mind, are you?
Oh, so this guy super deserves it. All right. Good. Get him, Frank. Does anyone remember those Bodyworks exhibits where they plasticized real humans and you could see like their nervous system and their muscle structure? Maybe one of them's riding a bike or playing tennis. And then they got investigated because the bodies of some missing people showed up in the exhibits and they were wondering how that happened. Anyway, that's exactly what Frank looks like after he feeds for the first time.
See.
And get you somebody who loves you as much as Julia loves Frank, because she sucks on his fingers while he looks like this. And then we hop over to this pet shop where I guess Kirsty works now. And Jesus Christ! That fucking monkey is the scariest part of this whole movie. They did that in the movie. They just do it like that. Sorry, that monkey freaked me the heck out. Gee whiz. On a lighter note, this kid's talking to a snake, just like Harry Potter in the first movie. Maybe he's magic. Maybe he's a wizard. Is he 11? This was originally set in London, after all. Maybe it's the same snake from Harry Potter. That's only 2 years later. And who should it be but that frickin' homeless guy again is in the back eating bugs.
Give those back. Oh my God.
What is that homeless guy doing?
Something weird.
Well, I worked at a pet shop and there was just some guy eating bugs. Well, I hope everyone's day's been good, and I'll see you later. Adios. Frank keeps eating people. She keeps getting, I guess, other men from the same bar. Don't go home with this lady. Don't go home with anyone, ever. It's scary. Don't do that. You don't know who the fuck these people... Don't do that. Don't go home with... Never have sex again. And then Frank finally gives us an explanation about the puzzle box from the beginning, which is actually called the Lament Configuration. They never say this in the movie, but I've done a bunch of research now, and I know that that's what it's called. The Lament Configuration summons the Cenobites, Pinhead, Chatterer. They don't give a name to the lady one, which is messed up. Butterball, and there's a weird fish one. But the Cenobites can't tell the difference between pleasure and pain, so they just torture people thinking that it's groundbreaking experience when it's just torture. Clive Barker, the author and director, he based the Cenobites off of his personal experiences in S&M clubs. So this guy was into some weird stuff, probably. Maybe he can't tell the difference between pain and pleasure. Frank gets one last victim, supposed to return him to full strength. Unfortunately for him, Kirsty catches him in the act this time. And on a side note, Frank totally looks like a Spider-Man villain when he's wearing this suit. Kirsty barely gets away from Frank by stealing the puzzle box, the Lament Configuration. Somehow this makes her pass out, and so she ends up in the hospital, where this nurse tells her this.
Good girl.
Oh, you're awake.
Good girl.
What the... And then she solves the puzzle box, and it makes the side of her room open up to a scary, scary door. Because this is a movie, she just walks in there right away. That's what people do. There's even a baby crying in there, which makes it even freakier, and she does not hesitate at all. She messed up. She gets chased by this big old fish monster. And she meets the Cenobites. Rather than be tortured or pleasured,
We came. Now you must come with us.
she makes a deal with the Cenobites to give them Frank in exchange so she doesn't have to endure whatever the heck they're gonna do to her. She runs home to make sure her dad is okay, and he is not. He looks like this, but Kirsty doesn't care at all. She just hugs him a bunch and never asks if he's okay or why he's covered in blood. His face is all bubbly and weird until he says his catchphrase.
Come to daddy.
Throughout this movie, every time we see him, he says,
Come to daddy.
finally, he tells her,
Come to daddy.
and she realizes.
You're not my dad! You also want to hear something! Ugly ass.
Frank goes to stab Kirsty, but he stabs Julia instead. And he says this,
Nothing personal, babe.
which makes it seem like it was on purpose, but I don't think it was on purpose. They just wrote that in. Kirsty gives Frank to the Cenobites finally, and they use these really cool chain claws to rip Frank apart. Then deals off! They're still coming for Kirsty. She has to reverse the puzzle cube. It slowly destroys the Cenobites one at a time, and her cigarette flipping boyfriend escape. They make it away. Kirsty throws the puzzle cube into just a random fire, because of course that will work on something from a different dimension. What? But I guess it does work, because the homeless guy shows up. Oh, it's the homeless guy come to the fire. Did he bring bugs? Does he bring enough bugs to share with everybody? And it turns out he's actually Satan himself. Lastly, we get another scene of somebody buying the puzzle box in the desert. Oh, sorry, wrong one.
What's your pleasure, sir?
And that's the end for now. That's it. That's all we get. There are like 10 of these movies, and I only watched the first one. So I'm sure there's way more lore that I don't know about. I liked this movie a lot. I'm gonna watch the other ones, even though that seems like a huge undertaking. The last movie I did this on, Plan 9, was excruciating to watch over and over and over and over. But this movie was good, so it wasn't so bad to watch repetitively. It was especially good the second time I watched it because I had gotten sleep and I actually understood what the heck was going on. I'm gonna give this movie 3.5 out of 5 pinheads. It was visually very cool. There was just some confusing stuff in the editing with the dubbing over of actors and actresses, but for some reason just leaving Julia British. And the flashback stuff was confusing, but you get over it. I enjoyed it a lot. Thanks for watching a movie with me. We'll do it again soon. If you liked it, if you had fun, like, subscribe. If you didn't like it, talk shit in the comments. Talk mad trash. Love you. Whoa, the light fell. Love you. Bye.